Hello, everyone. Here we go, starting a new week. Please remember, this week we're going to have our second exam. It's going to be on chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this is chapter 8, and it will be included. So I'm going to go ahead and have that up for you. The exam is going to be the same as last time. We're going to be using Proctorio again, so make sure you have your camera, make sure you have the audio recording, the audio capabilities, and it'll be very similar to the last test. So a few questions from every chapter. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I don't really see you, but I do get your emails. And I try to respond as quickly as possible. All right, so we're into the digestive system, digestion. What is digestion? Digestion is breaking stuff down, yeah? Okay, so there are three major functions of the digestive system. Okay, so let's take a look. So we're going to describe the digestive system. What are the functions and the organs? Two sets of teeth, okay, teeth, and three more portions of tooth. So we're going to talk about teeth. Those are the accessory organs. That's what they call them. The accessory organs, so we're talking about the liver, pancreas, gallbladder, and their functions. And then, of course, terminology and drugs highlighted in the chapter. Okay. Lab tests. Some of the lab tests you may have heard of, like colonoscopy, stuff like that. Endoscopy, what are they talking about? Abbreviations and some practical applications. Okay, so gastrointestinal system. It's either called digestive or gastrointestinal. Gastro, we're talking about the stomach. Intestinal, we're talking about the intestines, okay? And truly, the GI tract, the digestive system is made out of the GI tract, gastrointestinal tract, which starts at the mouth and ends at the anus. It's truly just a tube, okay? That's it. It's a tube, and then depending on where you are at the tube, there's different parts, and they have different jobs, okay? So there's the tube, and then there are the accessory organs, the things added to the tube. So we start in the mouth. Well, our accessory organs, we have like our glands, our salivary glands. So if I gave you like a piece of lemon and, said, here you go, you'd go, right? You'd start, right, salivating here. So salivary glands. Swallow goes down the esophagus, gets into the stomach. Lots of secretions happening in the stomach. Then we get into the intestines. Now that's where the absorption takes place. So we've broken the food down. The word digestion means breaking food down. So we've broken the food down to the point where now we can absorb it, and we can absorb it into the blood, okay? And so your nutrients get absorbed. The main place it gets absorbed is in the small intestine, and it's called small because of the diameter of the tube. It's not the length of the tube. It's really a long tube, and so there's absorption there. Then we get to the large intestine. It's large because the diameter is larger, and there's little to no absorption of nutrients, but there's absorption of water and electrolytes. And finally, we're not 100% efficient, so we get rid of the feces. So the tube is known as the alimentary canal, gastrointestinal tract, about 30 feet long. It's big. There's a bunch of stuff stuffed in us here with the tube. So we have the primary accessory organs, main function, digestion. So breaking food down. We got to break it down. Imagine you're going to have a sandwich. There's a bunch of nutrients in that sandwich. And energy in that sandwich. But we got to break it down first before your cells can use it, okay? So digestion is first. You start digestion, mechanical digestion, chewing at the mouth, and then saliva. There is chemical digestion that starts at the mouth. Digestion in the stomach, absolutely, the hydrochloric acid that's added and so on. And then absorption, literally the nutrients like carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, amino acids are going to get absorbed into the blood. So absorption, and then elimination, because we're not 100% efficient. We don't 100% get all the nutrients out of our food. So those are the three main functions of the digestive system. So digestion. changes food with digestive enzymes in the mouth, stomach, intestines, and then we can absorb it, goes into our bloodstream. Then elimination of the solid waste, because we don't get all of it. We can't absorb all of that. So this is a beautiful picture because it shows the tube, right? Starts at the mouth, going down. So here's the mouth, the throat, also known as the pharynx. Here's the esophagus. Here's the trachea. The trachea is your windpipe. It's anterior to the esophagus. So esophagus going down, and then here's the stomach, right? That J-shaped organ. So there's churning, so there's mechanical digestion. There's the mixture of the hydrochloric acid. So that not just hydrochloric acid, there are other digestive enzymes that are released. Then the small intestine, then the large intestine, and then out, yeah? And then here are the accessory organs. So the glands are accessory organs, the liver, huge, major, important organ in the body, gallbladder. Here is the pancreas right under the stomach. Here's the spleen, right? So here are some organs here. And if you look, your abdomen is almost completely, totally full of, parts of the digestive system. So this shows the organ and the primary function. So mouth, teeth for mastication, that means chewing. Salivary glands, pharynx, again, that's your throat. Esophagus, okay, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver, gallbladder, pancreas. So look at that and their functions. And we're going to take a look at it in the videos too. Aging, things happen. Our mouth gets drier, less gastric juices. We're not absorbing as well as before. Some really interesting FYIs, right? Loss of taste buds. You just don't taste as well. Gastric emptying. The tube doesn't contract the way it used to, because the tube itself, there's smooth muscle around the tube, and it squeezes and relaxes, so moving food down. All right, so now we're going to talk about the parts of the tube, okay? Mouth, oral cavity, okay? So we have the teeth, the glands, we have the tongue, right? The gums. So this is, right, a mid-sagittal section. Sagittal, we're cutting the body into right and left halves, and you can see it. So here are the lips. Here's the tongue. It's a muscular organ, yes? It's skeletal muscle. Here's the hard palate up top, right? And the soft palate, because it's made out of tissue. Here's the uvula, the little punching bag at the back of your throat, right? Swallowing is a reflex, right? When we swallow. So you chew, mix with the saliva and swallow, and the food's supposed to go down the esophagus. If the food goes down the trachea, okay, that's choking, okay? Here's the epiglottis, epi on top of the glottis, and it's almost like a little trap door. It goes down so that the food just goes down the esophagus. Teeth for chewing, right? These are called the incisors. Those are, if I gave you an apple, you would bite with your incisors, right? These are the canines. The canines are for tearing food. And so usually you go, right? And then you move the food to the back, and the back, that's where the molars. There are what are called the premolars, right? And then the molars, okay? So the premolars are here, also known as the bicuspids. And then the molars, okay? And we're chewing. By the way, tonsils, right? That's involved with immunity. So chew. Physical breakdown, and that's called mastication. Tongue, okay, they're talking about the tongue. Taste buds, of course, super duper important. Sweet, salty, sour, and bitter, located on the tongue surface, yes. Salivary glands, you have 3 pairs of salivary glands. The pictures don't show it. The picture does show it over here, right, with the salivary glands. So here, right under the ear, they're called the parotid. And then over here, sublingual, right under the tongue, submandibular, kind of at the base there. So we have 3 pairs, on either side of the salivary gland. And they're releasing that saliva. Okay. Digestion. Okay, we break it down. The food, when you chew the food, and it becomes that mixture with the saliva. Now that's called a bolus of food. And you swallow, and this is actually showing the swallowing reflex. So the food's supposed to go down the esophagus, not the trachea. Again, if it goes down the trachea, we call that choking. So the teeth, the incisors, canines, premolars, molars, so it's showing that. This idea of deciduous teeth. If you've ever heard that word deciduous, like deciduous trees, okay, those are trees that lose their leaves, excuse me. Deciduous teeth, we're talking about the baby teeth, the milk teeth or the baby teeth. So what happens to the baby teeth? They fall out. Yes, we talk about teething and how painful that is. Well, teething is painful, getting them in, but they also come out, and then you get your permanent teeth. So here are the deciduous teeth. Here are the permanent teeth. So talking about the different teeth, which we already did. Now, what about the tooth? Have you heard of someone like getting a crown on their tooth? Okay, what's that about? So the tooth itself has anatomy, yes. The top part is the crown. So if anyone's ever gone to the dentist and had to get a crown, they're taking this part out and they're putting, parts of, and they're putting like a synthetic part over it, yeah. If you ever heard of a root canal, well, there's roots in here. Whoops, here's the pulp cavity, and there's nerves. There are nerves in here, and the root canal is right here, root canal. So sometimes if someone's had their tooth really damaged, they have to get a root canal. And literally what the dentist does, or orthodontist, no, endodontist, I think endodontist. What they do is they go in with a tool and like get rid of all of the nerves, and then they impact it with some kind of, I don't know what the material is. But yeah, that would be a root canal, right? A crown would be, they take that off. Now, enamel, that's the hardest part. That's stronger than bone, okay? So there is our enamel. Then over here, dentin, and then over here, a pulp cavity. And if you look, there are nerves here, there are blood vessels here. So if we have damage, it hurts, yeah? Here's the gum. You can see the gum here. And here's bone. So that's embedded into bone. And then here, this is called cementum. That's like the cement or the glue that binds the tooth. Now, can teeth move? Yeah, of course they can, right? We know that teeth can move. That's where dentistry, when we're talking about braces and so on, right? That's under that premise. So here are the adult teeth, so showing you the incisors, cuspid, bicuspid, molars. The pulp cavity, the root, so we're talking about the dentin, the enamel, the neck of the tooth. Now we've moved on from the mouth to the throat. The pharynx is the throat, and the pharynx can be named different things, right, depending on where you are in the throat. So nasopharynx, upper portion, oropharynx, middle portion, laryngopharynx, lowest portion, because the larynx, that has to do with the respiratory system, and that has your vocal cords. Common passageway for respiratory and digestion. The larynx, right? The voice box. Epiglottis, that's that like trap door that keeps food from going into the esophagus. Into the trachea. Esophagus, that's that tube. The bolus of food's going to go down. Yeah. Then we get to the stomach. The stomach is a J-shaped organ. There's different regions to the stomach, right? So here's the esophagus. Here, it's called a sphincter muscle. There's a ring of muscle that opens to allow food in. There's another sphincter muscle over here. And then these are the parts of the stomach. So the fundus is at the top, the body's the major part, and so on. And then from there, so a lot of mixing, churning, digesting happening here. And then the food goes into the small intestine. So gastric juices help convert the food to a semi-liquid. Now it's called chyme. It was called bolus. Now it's chyme, which passes through the pyloric sphincter. All right, then into the small intestine. I'm going to stop here, and then we'll continue with another video.